So in the late 80s and into the 90s, Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to prove he was more than just a muscle-bound action giant, but that he could actually act and recite dialogue and stretch his acting chops. And he teamed up with the late great director Ivan Reitman, who earlier helmed Stripes, Ghostbusters, and later on went to helm Dave and Evolution, and many other comedies and dramas. But the thing is that what set Ivan Reitman apart and that caught Schwarzenegger's eye was that he wasn't your ordinary comedy director, because it was the way he approached the material. Reitman grounded the comedy films with drama, and with just about each film he made, had a relatable story, relatable characters, and that all comes down to the writing, which Reitman would rewrite the script or co-write the script to a film to bring the film down to earth, where we as the audience believe what we're seeing on the screen. Again, this caught Schwarzenegger's eye, and he agreed to do their first out of 3 comedies with 1988's mega hit Twins, which, by the way, where's the 4K for Twins? I'm talking to you, Scream Factory. In 1994, he had his third outing with Junior, and traveled back a few years to 1990 with today's movie and Schwarzenegger's biggest comedy hit, Kindergarten Cop. Now, the question is, why did Schwarzenegger want to do a movie like Kindergarten Cop in the first place?
You don't understand. I have nothing else to do, and I have nowhere else to go.
Went on to make $92 million from its $26 million budget. It was a massive comedy hit in 1990. And Kindergarten Cop, unfortunately, never really gained the respect it deserved on home media from VHS, Laserdisc, DVD, and in 2014, Universal did release a Blu-ray that was pretty much a huge disaster. And it had all sorts of problems that I'll get into more in my review, including the wrong aspect ratio that you have to see to believe. 10 years later, in 2024, Kino Lorber once again comes to the rescue, giving Kindergarten Cop a new 4K restoration from the original 35mm negative, forming a native 4K DI with HDR10 and Dolby Vision grading, and the accurate theatrical ratio of 1:5:1, and the restoration work was handled by Universal Pictures. Alright, so let's go back to school with Arnold Schwarzenegger as your teacher and take a closer look between this 4K UHD and the previous Blu-ray. This also comes with a new special feature that I'll talk about at the end of this review. This 4K transfer honestly just looks outstanding, including framing the film to its appropriate theatrical 1:5:1 ratio, where on both the DVD and the Blu-ray it was framed wrong at 1:7:8:1. And here's proof at how that framing harms the image a little bit. Look at Arnold's head. It's cut off here at the top. And that's just one scene with that issue. But now we're going to get into the color reproduction. The Blu-ray carried a very faded, dull, and also some inaccuracies, and had a slight cool wash over the image. The HDR10 and Dolby Vision grading really helps with this by opening up the color gamut much wider now, allowing for a fuller range of color depth and bold primaries that are very active throughout the presentation. And this also handles the different atmospheres very well, from the opening when Kimball makes his way through the nightclub that's dark and grungy, with neon signs looking electric and active, and a smoky filled atmosphere. Then we have the more gloominess of Astoria, Oregon, with its very healthy, natural looking overcast look and skies to it. And then when we're inside in the kindergarten classroom and the school, we have these bright, vibrant candy colors. And the different color tones are used to match a particular scene in the movie. And the 4K completely remains consistently faithful to this and the way Ivan Reitman and his DP Michael Chapman envisioned the film to look, based off of the original camera negative. There is just a rainbow of colors here that are very pleasing and attractive to look at throughout the entire 4K presentation. Skin tones, as you can see here, the Blu-ray lean much more towards a paler side. The skin tones here on this 4K is warmer, drawing out Schwarzenegger's tan. And even though skin tones do look warmer, it also looks more normal, more natural, without being overly pink or red. The saturation is increased, but slightly. Now the image looks very healthy, alive, without oversaturated colors or looking too hot. And contrast is also handled much better here on this 4K, giving more natural brightness back into the image. A very nice reference point here on this 4K is with the highlights. They look incredible. As you can see here with the plane shot, the window is completely blown out on the Blu-ray, while on the 4K it's handled much better here where it's not clipped or blown out. And this goes for many shots from windows in the backgrounds and also headlights from cars. Now the black levels was also a complete mess on the Blu-ray. We had it all, heavy crushing in areas. There was also some slight grayish or bright blacks in other areas. And also other areas carried a lot of noise within the black levels on the Blu-ray. With this new 4K restoration and the help from HDR10 Dolby Vision grading, the black levels just look remarkable here, with solid, deep, inky, truer looking blacks and rich shadows. Another huge problem with the Blu-ray was just how old the image looked. It definitely looks like it was sourced from a 20-year-old or 25-year-old master used for the DVD. With the 4K, you can immediately tell this is a new master. And with the higher resolution, it carries more lines in the image that are finer, giving an abundance amount of extra detail levels. And every shot, from the scenic outdoors of Astoria that showcases the great cinematography to interiors of the classrooms, details are always consistently razor sharp. And I didn't notice any kind of artificial sharpening or smoothing done at all. Close-ups look outstanding. We can now notice blemishes, wrinkles, makeup, pores, down to the very definition of Arnold Schwarzenegger's face as he screams. The level of detail is very active, looks clear and sharp from any direction the camera is pointed at. And a really nice reference point here with the image is with the depth. There is much more depth and three-dimensionality now, giving a much more lifelike feel along with some nice spaciousness in the image. You can now feel the scope of the film. And now another huge issue with the Blu-ray was with the grain field, with sometimes very chunky grain where details and faces looked a little blurry, in fact, in some certain scenes. Now the 4K handles the grain field incredibly well. The grain is much better resolved and looking tighter now. With the grain structure on this 4K, we now have nicely resolved original 35mm grain field, giving us that nice, rich filmic appearance. Alright, now let's get into the audio presentation of this 4K. And this 4K from Kino Lorber offers two tracks, a DTS HD lossless 5.1 track and a DTS HD lossless stereo track. Now both sound excellent, but I'm going to focus on the 5.1 track. And while it sounds great and clear, it's also not very heavy on surround use. The rear channels are very rarely used outside of music or the occasional atmospherics, or for example action scenes such as when all the kids are rampaging around the classroom and around Schwarzenegger. This is where it really kicks in, doing a nice 360-degree surround experience, creating all the chaos that works. But much of the film is front end heavy. Dialogue is rendered crystal clear. There's also some nice good spacing with the 5.1 track and movement, and some really nice punchy bass levels. Alright, so I'm giving Kino Lorber's 4K UHD presentation of Kindergarten Cop, the video. I'm giving it a resounding 5 out of 5. This is a major night and day difference from the previous release Blu-ray or any home media release for that matter. As for the audio presentation, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Alright, but now head over to the comment section and let me know, when you look at the differences here between the two formats, the previous release Blu-ray and this new 4K UHD, which do you think looks better? Head over to the comment section and let me know. Alright, now we're going to get into two new special features that are included, exclusive for this Kino release, and they are both audio commentaries. One is from an audio commentary by film historians Alexandra Heller-Nichols and Josh Nelson, and the second is an audio commentary by film historian Sam Deenan. And these are just terrific audio commentaries, both of them giving a lot of insight into the film, a lot of insight into some of the controversies surrounding the film when it first came out, how it impacted culture and became a pop culture phenomenon. If you're interested in filmmaking on any type of level, you have to listen to these commentaries. They are absolutely terrific. All right, well, thanks so much for hanging out with me and talking about Kino Lorber's 4K presentation of Kindergarten Cop. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. And remember, keep physical media alive, and I'll see you next time.